Coming up, a small coastal town with a delicious heritage.
You have never had an oyster. Do something brave today, folks.
Join our adventure as we're put to the test. A taste test, that is.
All right, here we go.
Bon appetit. Welcome to Small Town Big Deal. I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl. We are in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. It's on Cape Cod, and it's about a 2-hour drive from Boston.
And you know, Jan, we're at their annual Oyster Festival, and their oysters are known worldwide for their quality.
I think there could be about 100,000 fewer of those famous oysters, though, by the end of the weekend, and you and I might even have one or two.
You know, it'll be my first.
Mine, too.
You think we'll like them?
We'll try.
The Oyster Festival comes once a year, but the reason for the celebration happens every day in the lives of the folks in Wellfleet. You know, as a farm boy myself, I was pretty curious about this harvesting of oysters, so I found a real pro, and he took me out in the wee hours of the morning. You just have a group of these you're going to harvest today, and then tomorrow you'll harvest another group.
Well, oysters grow at different rates. So we find the bags that need to be culled.
How many bags would be out here?
Hundreds.
Well, those are unculled.
Yep. Even though these are of the same year class, you can see they grow at all different rates.
So like, would this one be ready?
This one would be ready. This is what we're looking for.
What's the difference?
Restaurants want them nice and round.
Looking kind of like an ear?
Yeah, just have a nice cup to it, you know, because that sits really nice on a plate.
Okay, so I'm used to row crop farming, and harvesting is kind of a once-a-year deal, but with oysters, you know, it's kind of every day, and you have to wait till they get a certain size, you have to cull them. Throw out the ugly ones.
You'll have a petite, you'll have a over 3 inches, and then you'll have anything maybe that doesn't look quite, you know, nice.
Another good 3?
Yep, that's great.
Getting the hang of this pretty quick.
You know, Rodney is a true farmer. Even with oysters, he's doing a pretty good job.
So, Irvin, now, we got these all culled.
They're all culled.
So we're going to want to put these back out.
Yep.
You know, some of my absolute best memories in life, honestly, are me working with my dad. And I think it's really cool that Jake's working with his.
There you go.
The tide's really starting to come in now.
Yes, it is. Time and tide wait for no one.
Okay, so Irvin, how did you get into this?
I had a cowboy hat, and I traded my cowboy hat to my best friend for a little skiff, and I went out to Heron River, and I started oystering.
That must have been a pretty expensive cowboy hat.
It was a nice cowboy hat. We're going to be back out here at 7 o'clock in the morning, right, Jake?
Right.
Jake, he's following right in your footsteps. Jake, I guess you like this too, obviously.
Yep, I love it, yeah.
You like coming out here at 5:30 in the morning? And
I like it when the tides are in the afternoon.
so, and that amazes me. Maybe our viewers already know that, but I didn't know that. The tide changes an hour a day. So when low tide was at 6 or so this morning, it'll be at 7 tomorrow and 8 the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you only harvest once a day?
We can do it twice. If it's at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then during the summertime, we can come back out at 6 at night. We call what we have as a power nap.
I'm not much of a napper, but Jan likes a power nap, so she's probably going to relate to that.
Okay, Rodney's fibbing. I almost never nap.
You know, I'm farming. I love shelling corn, and I love certain things like that. What do you like the best?
I like being outdoors. I like having my own business, setting my own hours.
Rodney, I have to pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming, you know?
You like it that much?
I do. Yeah, I've been doing this for 40 years, and it's like the first day on the job for me, you know?
You know, Irving's right. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I could stay out here all day, but it's time to get back to land and find Jan.
Okay, the sun is up, and now so am I. We're gonna hit the ground running. Well, maybe some walking in the annual Oyster Fest 5K.
Okay, I've run a lot of 5Ks in my life, and I've seen a lot of things, but never have I seen a guy run a 5K in a skirt.
Wait, I thought we were walking.
We are.
This
is not walking?
No.
Gorgeous day. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
I had to give up the idea that I was gonna run the whole thing. No training.
Okay, I'm walking.
But that gave us the opportunity to meet a couple of visitors and talk about the star of the weekend, oysters.
Okay, so we've never had an oyster.
Never.
You have to have them with a little bit of Tabasco. You have to put on some horseradish.
Okay,
You have to totally overcome the taste then with all that stuff.
cover it up.
Kind of, yeah.
You know, with all that stuff, it kind of seems like they're trying to mask the taste of the oyster. But then again, we put steak sauce on our steaks.
It's Rodney's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
29, 30.
Yeah, thank you. You are wise in your old age. No, you're not old. You're not old. She's not old. That did not mean that.
Missy knows what I put up with all the time.
Coming up next, the main event, Oyster Fest, complete with schooling, shopping, and seafood, of course.
We're back for more fun on Small Town Big Deal at the Wellfleet Oyster Fest. This popular festival attracts folks from all over to Cape Cod, celebrating the town's famous shellfish and bringing together locals and visitors alike for a weekend full of hometown flavor and small town fun.
You have never had an oyster. Do something brave today, folks. Tom Brady would do it. Yeah, whoa.
And whether they were topped with Tabasco, laced with lemon juice, a hint of horseradish, or coated in cocktail sauce, the favorite was...
How do you like your oysters? Rah, rah, rah!
First timer only, Belle.
So we're seeing all these people eating all these oysters. They gotta be good.
We are going to do this, aren't
We promised ourselves.
They must be good. Everybody's eating them.
They must be.
So we asked an expert for his opinion about the local delicacy.
Wellfleet Oysters, official food of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, really, that guy. We have never eaten an oyster, either one of us, before.
Really?
Is there any tricks or tips
I
for
would
us?
personally, I would prefer to just put a little hot sauce, a little lemon on them. But the more of that, just masks the flavor.
Okay, are you supposed to chew them?
Yeah, there's a lot of different techniques.
Wait, your voice just cracked. Yeah, you're supposed to chew them.
Well, it's like some people like to swallow them. I think the best way to do is to take a bite, chew it, and then swallow it.
We got to try raw.
You know, if you cook it right, it tastes just like chicken.
Okay, right. So deep fry mine, then it might taste like chicken.
One thing's for sure, I got to learn how to open them before I can eat them.
Well, I found out the common oyster predators are crabs, seabirds, starfish, and Rodneys.
So Andy, you're going to give me an oyster shucking lesson.
Absolutely.
Who knew? You know, this farm boy, I've shucked a little corn, but never oysters.
So what we have here is a genuine Wellfleet oyster. And what you do, you get it firmly in the hinge, and as you're pushing forward, you also twist and pop. It's open now. Now we have to take this knife, transfer this knife up forward, and cut the muscle. Then you have to take your knife, go under, release it, and then you have the perfect,
Then it's ready to
slurp.
push, twist, cut, release. I think I got this. Let me just try one then.
Sure.
Holding it. So I'm going to do like this. Okay,
Yep.
underneath here. And
Yep,
push
push forward and twist at the same time. Keep it against the top. There you go, slice. That's it.
Oh, so the first shuck, not bad.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
then I put the knife
Yep.
to
Exactly.
release it.
Release it,
all that
and that way it'll slurp right out of the shell.
Now that I've mastered regular shucking, there's got to be a quicker way. Let's see how the pros do it.
Most of the commercial guys and the professionals in Wellfleet shuck with a different style knife. This is a lot sharper, a lot pointier, a lot more dangerous. but this method takes a lot more practice. So what you do is we usually put our thumb pretty close to the edge, about 1/4 of an inch. You pick a nice little spot where you can see a little crease right there. You take the knife and you're gonna start a motion like this, like it almost drills in. Once it's in, then I go like that.
Dang.
Right up.
Okay, so which one of those was the easiest for me to do like that? With this bigger one or the?
No, you'd probably want a more tender one.
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah,
hold it there and you see that natural crease and just wiggle it in, and once you're in, like that.
Okay, so just. Ta-da! Piece of cake. So how would you rate me? Did I do good for a first
time or you did excellent?
Not too bad for a farm boy that grew up landlocked.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, it was a pleasure.
Now, Rodney isn't the only one to get an education at the festival. I went to do some research of my own and met somebody who's recycling old sails into quite the creation.
That's pretty typical. Jan's off shopping while I'm shucking.
Tell me what the features are.
Probably one of the more unobvious and grooviest things.
This is groovy.
Well, this is a spinnaker from a sail. And on the inside, I share the sail history. So I interview the sail donor. They tell me their salty tales. I do not filter. And I share what the boat name is, who they are, any notable races or cruising. And I prepare their sail legacy. And there's climbing webbing for the handles. So you have the ability to overstuff.
Yes. I'm
Or
always into overstuffing my
overstuffing.
bag.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm an overstuffer. Yeah, hi, my name is Jan.
I'm
I'm an
an
overstuffer.
overstuffer.
Yeah.
Jan and overstuffer? That's the understatement of the year. If I had a nickel for every time we've taken stuff out of Jan's suitcases to get them under 50 pounds, I'd be a wealthy guy right now.
Raising old sails to new heights.
So old sails for old gals.
Oh, old sails for classy gals. Well, you know.
I like that
You
better.
know, yeah.
Yeah, you are good.
Our oyster adventure isn't over yet. When we return, serious shucking leads to a champion, and the perfect use for all those shells. Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal.
The Wellfleet Oyster Fest is in full swing, and it's time for what the event folks around here have been waiting for all year.
Do you see that crowd? The shucking contest is definitely a big deal in these parts.
Go! And we got to watch the pros in action. Nearly 3 dozen challengers, shucking 2 dozen oysters each. Since I just learned how to shuck, I'm pretty impressed with how fast they're going with those sharp knives.
With a knife, I couldn't do this. So to win, not only is it based on time, but also presentation. No broken shells and no cut oysters. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're pretty happy.
I am really excited. 27 people were in the oyster shucking contest this year. 26 of them were men. And I won. I was the only woman. Yeah, baby. Women rule.
Barbara's got some girl power. I want to know, what's your secret technique?
My real secret is that I spent 10 years shucking 5 bushels a day every day.
5 bushels?
5 bushels. A bushel is about 300 oysters. So
1,500 oysters
a day.
And now I heard she gave half of her winnings to
the Miles Tibbetts Scholarship Fund. Miles Tibbetts was a young boy that was accidentally killed on his bicycle on his way to work to the fish market.
So you're a champion in more ways than one.
Well, thank you very much.
Along with a new champion and great memories, there's a benefit from this festival that changes the future. So you wonder what happens to the oyster shells?
I've seen a lot of recycling, but not oyster shells.
So Mackie, tell me about the recycling that we see everywhere. I'm not sure if I understand the purpose of that.
One of the programs that we initiated about 4, maybe 5 years ago was a shell recycling. And what we do is that we save all the oysters, well, as many as we can, that we shuck, and they all go into buckets. Those buckets get transported to a big container. That container then gets dumped back into the harbor. That shell is what the baby oysters in the harbor that float around naturally, they attach to that shell. It needs to be attached in order to do that.
And then it grows its own new shell.
Exactly.
There was a time when the oyster beds were almost completely wiped out for not returning the shells to the bay.
Putting them back in the water, that completes the cycle of life. So if you had a harbor that was pure sand, it wouldn't be very good for a habitat for oysters.
You're absolutely right. And here's another great fact about oysters that most people don't know is that they filter about 60 to 70 gallons of water a day. It's really amazing. Not only are the oysters an economic engine for this town,
They're an environmental engine.
they're a huge environmental engine.
For a little more dirt on recycling, we talked to the resident clean water expert.
Well, these little black things are actual live baby oysters that have this summer set on the shell.
Wait, are they alive?
Yep, they are.
No way! You know, there are approximately 7 baby oysters on each recycled shell. That's 700,000 oysters returned to the water for every 100,000 oysters consumed. How many babies do they have?
Millions.
Millions! Oh, wow, they're better women than I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can actually change their sex, too. They start out as male and become female as they get older.
Oh, well, they figured it out, that they'd really rather be
Rather be
female.
women, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And now you get kids involved in this recycling process.
The kids are amazing. They get it. You know, in school, they have recycling programs. So yeah, it starts out with the kids.
Okay, so you've harvested oysters, you've shucked oysters, and now you get to eat an oyster.
Oh, what's this you that we get to eat an oyster? We, that means you, as in us. Yum, yum.
Our day was drawing to a close, so we went to our new friend, Mac Hayes Restaurant, Mac's Shack, where we knew we'd get a great experience for our first raw oysters.
Oh, here they
Hi guys, welcome.
Oh my.
So what you've got here are famous Wellfleet oysters.
And so these are raw.
These are raw.
Now,
These
I
are
guess we should
naked
have a raw
oysters.
Are you supposed to chew them?
Some people.
That's a no.
Do you like them?
I love them. They're better than they look.
This is our first oyster ever, and we decided to go raw.
Well, okay, with a little bit of lemon and a whole lot of horseradish sauce.
One,
Okay.
two,
Bon appetit.
3. Cheers. You can do some chewing now.
That was good,
Wasn't half bad on the half shell.
but with a little horseradish sauce for me. I really like that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Woo! Good.
I'm really surprised.
Better than they look.
Yeah.
Better than they look.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal.
You know, Rodney and I both grew up in the Midwest, so we didn't know what to expect from an oyster festival.
You know, and one of the things I love most about what we do, we get to travel all over the United States and we see great festivals and great traditions.
And you get to participate in so many different things. Now you can say you've harvested oysters. So what do you want to harvest next?
Maybe cranberries?
You are not getting me in those waders, because I already know the answer to, does my backside look big in these waders?
The answer is no.
Oh yeah, well done. Except I can already tell you're lying.
Born
'cause you...
yesterday.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Small Town Big Deal. We're not doing cranberries.
I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jann Carl.
Join us again next week when once again we celebrate the great stories from across America.
We eat a lot of things raw. Celery, you know, apples.
I don't eat any meats raw.
And then clear the shell out. See, you got a bugger.
You're not going to want to eat this one. Yeah. Got my camera guy. Foo-foo stuff. We have steak and potatoes in the Midwest.
Hey, you know what? That's not foo-foo. You know what? Cooking it. That's foo-foo, man. Eat it raw. Now that's the manly thing to do.